What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Chart Talks with Legacy. Today we're sitting down with the one and only NIICKS. How we doing, bro?
I'm doing good, bro. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for coming to sit down with us. Guys, if you don't know, NIICKS goes live every single day in the Discord for completely free, linked below during London session. He is a London session trader. I'm gonna ask a little bit about him, but then we're gonna get into the charts. We're gonna share the screen. He's gonna go into a strategy and kind of show you guys how he's able to capitalize and become profitable trading London. But first off, let's go over a little bit of your background of like how you got into trading, how long you've been trading, how you found out about it.
Yeah, so I've been trading for about, I think going on 5 years now. I started in high school, I believe at 17. Got introduced by a friend, of course. Thankfully, didn't get caught into any scams early on, like a lot of people do end up doing. But from there, just kind of started running with the journey and falling in love with it. And in due time, sitting here now, I mean, it did take longer than I expected, but just like anything, great things take time. So now I'm here now and able to share my experience and educate you guys and share my knowledge.
That's awesome, bro. And then thinking back to when you first were starting, why do you think it maybe took you a little bit longer than you wanted? Now that like you become profitable, what were some of the things you were doing that you were like, I just needed to stop doing that to be here?
Yeah, I think if I had the proper guidance in the sense of like having someone who knew the system, and again, any system works, any entry system works, but there's a general system that I think there is in trading. If you understand this, which it comes down to a systematic approach, tracking your trades, journaling, getting data. If I would have understood that early on, I think I would have seen success within the first year or two. Just because, again, I've seen people now take the same system and run with it, and they're seeing profits within a year. So it just goes to show that if I was able to have that education early on, things would have been a little bit different. But
that's awesome. Well, that's why we have all the resources here on the YouTube, guys, and also the free live trading every single day in the Discord. You can go to live trade with Nick, me, Mark, Chris. It's absolutely amazing. So make sure join the Discord link below. But asking you a little bit first off about like you've already kind of talked about your journey. How did you kind of transition to start trading London? Because I know you didn't trade London forever, and why do you like it now?
Yeah, so I'm originally a forex trader. Kind of took the intraday swing trading approach, and there just wasn't a lot of opportunity. There really wasn't. So I started to gradually kind of watch London, and just from me kind of observing it and already having experience from trading prior markets or other markets, I was able to kind of apply a lot of the higher time frame concepts and just see something repeat itself on a daily basis, right? So I think it was just the eye and the experience that I had from those 5 years of my experience, which going back to what we had talked about earlier, that's where I'm also thankful for how long it took me, because that experience allowed me to now visually be able to look at the markets differently than other people. And I was able to, again, switch to another system that's now, again, giving me great returns.
That's awesome. We talked about it on other episodes, but forming your strategy around your lifestyle too, because I mean, are you not someone who likes to wake up super early?
Oh yeah, no.
He likes to stay up late. Like I know him. So staying up late, seeing the volatility, because similar to me as well, is I like trading and scalping a little bit more, where you're getting in and out of the market. Whereas throwback to like you said, you used to be a forex trader, more swing. It takes a lot longer to hit your take profits and all that type of stuff. So I'm guessing we're gonna get into it, but volume based.
Oh yeah. Big time volume base. I'm really only entering once London opens. Of course, I have a general overall higher time frame bias, but
okay. And then if you had to go back and learn trading right now in 2025, knowing everything you know now, what are some steps you would take to become profitable?
I think number one thing is understanding higher time, right? Just understanding multi-time frame analysis and getting the general idea of how price moves and where we're sitting at within certain ranges, because I think that's a big factor when it comes to lower time frame entry. And then again, multi-time frame analysis is all time frames, right? So bringing them all together, having that higher time frame bias and that lower time frame bias match, again, you're going to see a lot higher probability trades. You're going to see a lot better trading, rather than if you would have just looked at the 5 minute and executed based off that. Because again, you guys never know. You could execute off the 5 minute trend, but be sitting within a counter trend on the higher time frames. And that ultimately could hurt you. So again, we're gonna hop in right now. I'll give you a great example of that. But
let's get into the charts.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Going over a trade I actually took last night. I don't know when you guys are gonna see this, but it is the 13th of August. So going back, I am really big on previous sessions. Okay, so you can clearly see we have the session indicators up. We have Asia, we have London. Again, we're focused on London. So let's go to the higher time frame real quick. Again, I just preached the higher time frame, so of course we are gonna go over here and look at it. you can clearly see that within this leg, previously we are bearish, right? We facilitated some type of internal pullback, and we are now seemingly coming lower. But doesn't mean price is going to continue to sell off. Let's go up one more time frame, right? And this is why multi-time frame is so important, because now that we look at the daily, we see something completely different. We see that the daily is actually sitting within a bullish swing leg, which has already facilitated a pullback and is now looking to possibly push higher and continue with that overall swing trend, right? So this is why multi-time frame analysis is important, because if I would have not looked at that, my bias would have been bearish, but I caught buys last night based off this. So now let's drop down to the lower time frames where we're going to look for entries. We'll come back into London, which is over here. So when it comes to entries, I'm solely on the 5-minute, and I'm looking for a breakout type A system, right? And a lot of people don't like breakouts. I used to not like breakouts. I can admit to that. But again, I have a higher time frame bias. I know that price should continue bullish, especially being that lower time frame structure. What do we see? Price has swept both highs and lows, so that's out of the picture as far as targeting liquidity. But we came down, facilitated a pullback, filled this gap, and we had a strong bullish reaction. Not only that, we had previous day highs sitting to our left. So again, lower time frame, higher time frames, they're matching up. They don't always, but in this case they did. So when it came to entry, I was looking at this area of resistance. Once price broke this high here, I entered, stops, take profit 101, and it was a real quick, easy trade. Real quick, 101. And again, I typically go for 101s, but I talked about this earlier, data. I'm looking to continue to have bigger and bigger trades as I continue to get data, but we'll go into that in a later video, right? I'll tease you guys. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, that's my system. It's super simple, super easy. Again, I could rant for hours, but it's just going to be the same setup every single time I talk about it, because my approach is systematic to where you'll see it every single day. And if not, again, you sit on your hands, but majority of the time you do see it, and it's the same thing. We're targeting liquidity, we're seeing where we're at within the higher time frame range, and we're basing our bias off of that.
We have another video on this channel, guys, so make sure you're subscribed with how to backtest and collect data with Nick. So stay tuned for that video, because he has a really good kind of system that you guys can replicate on collecting data, because I always say that you don't know what you're doing wrong in your trade until you can identify it. How do you identify it? By collecting data and journaling all of your trades. So he's gonna go into that in another video, so make sure you subscribe. But this was a good breakdown. I love that you kind of went over the pairs, what time you trade, which is obviously London, and kind of touching on breakouts, because it's the same thing I kind of talk about, which it's like, yes, you're taking a break in a certain direction, but you have so many things leading up to it and all these confluences as to why you want to take the trade. So it's like, not like it's just breaking above here so you're gonna buy. It's like, no, this is showing me buys, this is showing me buys, this is showing me buys, and now we're breaking above on the 5-minute to take that trade during open with volume. So that's pretty intense.
Exactly.
Well, I want to ask you, I always say this, but I want to ask you because some people out there may be still confused because they haven't been trading for a long time. So if you had to dumb down your strategy and say it in a sentence or two, how would you say it?
If I had to dumb down my system, all I would say is wait for structure to be in your favor. Look for a breakout in that general direction with some type of target, either being liquidity or some type of imbalance. Simple as that, right? Obviously, like you said, I'm dumbing it down here, but it really is as simple as that. That is my approach at hand. Obviously, there's other factors, but
what about news? Do you ever trade news, before news, after news, anything like that?
So thankfully with London, I honestly don't really see a lot of news. I don't. And if I do, which is maybe once a month, I am a little bit more hesitant. I don't mean I haven't seen winning days on news days, but it doesn't affect me too much where I care about it. And even if it did affect me, I would, again, play accordingly. I don't like entering during news. Again, it's very, very, very volatile. You never know what's going to happen. It's news at the end of the day. And again, it's just not part of my trading.
That's awesome. Okay, well then, no news trade, sticking to London, volume-based, higher time frame bias, all that type of stuff. Guys, all of Nick's links will be in the description. You also can go live trade with him during London session. But is there any other trades you maybe want to break down for them?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm going to go over this setup here. It was DAX sells, right? So I know we just went over the buys I took yesterday, but the day before I took sells, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It can be a back and forth bias all the time. It's a probability game, right? So we're gonna go over that right now. Let's go to the higher time frames first. Let's kind of peep it. So sitting in the higher time frames. So previously sitting here, price had a bunch of liquidity sitting within this leg, right? We already had a minor pullback into imbalance. Yes, price could have continued higher, but generally speaking, there's a lot of liquidity sitting down there. I know if price were to make that confirmation, which is that bearish indication, we should end up running those, right? And again, also just looking at the charts, there's a bunch of liquidity sitting to the left, right? You have a big liquidity pool of this trend line liquidity here that price is going to look to manipulate, right? So even though price was starting to create this internal bullish trend here, that does not mean price has to continue bullish. But ultimately, that's why London Open is so important, because it is our confirmation on our entry, right? Obviously, if we get if price sells off before London Open, I don't really enter. I'm not saying it can't play out, but typically it is a fake out. And how do I know that? Because of data. But let's go back to this. Again, super simple. We already ran Asia highs. We have a bunch of liquidity sitting down low. We know there's no more sell side liquidity within this area. What is next? What is price going to do next if there's no more sell side liquidity? Seek buy side, right? It's really that simple. Again, we wait for London Open. We had to break the support area. We had the stops at these highs, TVs at this low. Why? Because we knew price was going to run out of liquidity. So therefore, I had confidence in holding through this trade, and you can see it continue to melt. Not that much, but it still did, right? Beautiful trade. Right? Yeah. Beautiful trade, guys. It's been a great week so far. And again, it's the same thing. If you go back to my live streams, if you watch my live streams going forward, I will have the same approach. I'm looking to see where we're at within the lower time frame. Have we taken liquidity on buy side or sell side? Could I use that to my advantage when it comes to looking at higher time frame and where we're looking to seek or looking to go on that time frame? And then from there, I'm just waiting for that final confirmation, because again, the confirmation is key. Price could have different objectives, right? Price could have went bullish here, and I would have just sat on my hands. I'm fine with that. I don't care, right? But it's a probabilities game too. So make sure you have good risk, right? You never know when you're going to lose. Sometimes I have the best looking setups and I lose. But again, it's trading, good risk management, and you'll be fine.
That's awesome. Well, I do like that trade. You can see, guys, to me, the way I look at it, it was a nice little pullback, broke structure. You got in on the pullback, looked at like the trend line liquidity, targeting below, looked for liquidity above pre-session, and then final confirmation, volume during London, breaking out to the downside towards that liquidity. So that's awesome, bro. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on, guys. Like I said, all of Nick's links are in the description. You can go watch him live and catch these trades with him in the Legacy Discord, which is linked in the description. But until next time, appreciate you, dog. Let's go.